everybody, what's going on? It's me, the leader. It's real live action. You already know what it is. Here to bring you this review of Mobile Suit Gundam, The Witch from Mercury, the Prologue. Now, we've all seen my reaction to the first trailer. I know there's a second one, and I may react to it in this video as well, at the end of this video. But, oh man, this prologue right here was perfect. This was a perfect way to get people curious about this series and to pull them in. This was basically them laying down a foundation because we learned a lot in this prologue alone. But with this, I'm not gonna go ahead and still say, you know, this series is gonna be top notch and unstoppable because it's too early to tell. You know, like I said in my reaction video to the trailer, I'm not gonna just jump the gun and think this is the end all be all to Gundam series. However, this is a great start. I really do hope they keep this momentum, this quality, this pacing, everything, because this prologue, it checked off all the boxes for me. You know, it was real good. So there's a lot to unpack here. Not necessarily a lot, but it's just getting into a new Gundam universe. You know, you have the new timeline, the new technologies, the characters, the factions, the councils, the organizations, so many different things. So this timeline is called Ad Stella. Some may call it AD Stella, but I think it's pronounced Ad Stella. And in this timeline, there is something called Gund format. Yes, G-U-N-D. I know it sounds weird. It sounds crazy. So with this format, it is made by a company called Venatus. And this format, it was first used as like medical technology meant to assist people with physical dysfunctions, you know, caused by being in space. Because around this time, of course, like a lot of Gundam series starting out, people are already in space and we're not meant to live in space. So things happen, you know, instead of just waiting, you know, decades and decades and centuries and centuries and centuries adapting to it, you know, this company figured out a way to cause, you know, not to cause, but to make it a lot more comfortable and easier, you know, to live in space. The lead researcher at Venatus was acquired by Ox Earth, and that gun format was reproposed to make military mobile suits. So this raised a lot of concerns regarding like the bioethical issues for the pilots, because a lot of people were thinking like, wait a minute, this isn't right. This is abuse, or is this necessary? These pilots are dying, they're suffering. You know, you have people mad, upset, angry, protesting. They want this stopped and they want it shut down. So they were looking at who was overseeing all this. Who are the people really in charge? So the council started getting a lot of pushback for this. So this starts out on a Venatus Institute lab that's like a front inside of an asteroid. They're running tests for these mobile suits where there's like 3 Gundams on it. There's 2 test types and then there's the main Gundam. So they're trying to meet the deadline. Well, they're trying to beat the deadline because if they don't prove that this can work, that this can be helpful, the council will shut this down, and who knows what will happen to them? Will they lose their jobs? Will this be all for nothing? Who knows? So they're trying to race against the clock. So we're introduced to Elnora Sayama, the test pilot for the Gundam Rift or Lift or Frift. It's one of the, it's called the Gundam Rift. So she's trying to get to layer, I think she's trying to sink or get the permit layer to 33. It's part of the new Gundam technology in this universe, but it's very dangerous. If it's not the perfect link or synchronization, I believe she can die, or she can be heavily damaged, or maybe turned into a vegetable. She's in there with her mother figure, Dr. Cardo, and she's running her through this test. You know, she's letting her know, look, shut it down. You know, it's too dangerous. This isn't gonna work. So, you know, she was hell-bent on getting this to work because she's concerned. You know, she's on this asteroid with her family, you know, her daughter and her husband. They put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in everything that they're doing. They need to get this to work. And she also believes in Dr. Cardo's, you know, research. And we also get to see, you know, of course, it was her daughter's birthday. And here we're introduced to Eri. Of course, Eri, you know, 4 years old, you know, she turned 4 that day, and you know, she has like this curiosity connection to the Gundam. You know, it's funny and all cute and whatnot, but you see they're holding a birthday party for her. You know, it's her parents, they want to cut the cake, and we see her mother, her arm just gives out. You know, when she went to, I believe she had a candle, she dropped it, and that was the Gundam technology. You know, she unscrewed her arm. She put in, looked like a charger back in her arm, and she said because of this technology, she's alive. And I guess, you know, that's what they were talking about in the beginning of this prologue, how, you know, without that technology, hey, they wouldn't even be able to live in space, yet alone work and make a living. So the one thing that's so crazy, the father, I believe, gets a phone call from the council. No, it switches to the council. And the council, they're discussing, like, look, they're not meeting this deadline. Like, what's going to happen? Like, we need to shut this down. And they were worried, like, what if they don't comply? What if the doctor won't comply? And we are introduced, of course, to a character named Delling. Delling, I believe he's ex-military. He's like, hey, if they don't comply, let's do it by force. And they're looking like, whoa, is that necessary? Like, what? But Delling, his mindset on why this needs to be shut down is a lot different, obviously, from Ox Earth. And this is how the whole thing goes down, to where we see who is against who, why they're doing this, why they're doing that. They went ahead and jumped the gun. Instead of waiting for the deadline, they went to hold a meeting, like a press conference, early without Ox Earth. At some point, we see Aerie, she goes floating off into the hangar. You know, she goes to see the Gundam, and of course the doctor, she brings her to the cockpit and let her talk to it. She puts her hand on it, and when she touches it, we see the pattern and everything. It's like it was a synchronization, like a link to it. You know, she puts her information into it, and she's just talking to it, and the doctor gets informed that they're holding the meeting without Ox Earth. And we see transport ship coming in, and she's telling the workers, like, look, don't let that ship board. And what's so messed up, we see Delling, I forget the name of the unit, he's in like this special unit for the council to kill all of the people on that asteroid, which is messed up, you know, in the research facility. So right there it was. And not only, you know, you would think they'd get laid off, you know, they'd just, you know, be out of a job, but they end up killing everyone on there. They had the information, they had the data, like, okay, there's 2 mobile suits on board. So they thought, there's 2 mobile suits on board, there's this amount of people, let's go in there, kill them, get rid of it all, let's just shut down this project. And that right there, I said, that is heart cold and messed up, man. Like, golly. So this is when it gets real good, because now we're getting into the mobile suit action, because her father, Nadim, he gets into a prototype Gundam and he heads out. And I like the way that, you know, they launch. You know, it's almost the opposite of on Evangelion. Evangelion, I believe they launch going up sometimes, and with this, he was going down. But the reason why this all went down is because Delling, he was on the phone and he was talking to that special group. It's like the task force for the council. He said, hey, go ahead, do it, commence it. And he was like, the captain on the ship asked him, is this approved by the council? He said, whatever, I'll take full responsibility, get it over with. So right there, he issued the green light. They sent out mobile suits, everything, you know, they had the ships coming in, and that's why, you know, her father and everyone else, they had to do what they had to do to get out of there and to get in the mobile suits. But keep in mind, there was only 3 mobile suits. 2 of them were prototype Gundams, and 1 was the Gundam Rift. And this whole time, of course, she's still inside of the cockpit. You know, Aerie, you know, while the father's out fighting, the mother, she comes in the cockpit, and at this point in time, oh man, I've seen already in the comments, this Gundam launch is probably one of the best, or it's going to be in your top 5 or in your top 10. And I agree. If this is not in your top 5, this at least got to be in your top 10. Because when she got to the cockpit, the mother, she heard over the comlink, who was all dead. She found out the doctor was dead, and she looked down and seen that it was the perfect successful layer made to 33. It was just synced perfectly with her daughter, and her facial expression, like when the music hit and you seen her facial expression, it was just perfect timing. And you seen the explosion, Gundam launches out into space, and you already know what it is. I knew it was gonna be like this. They were like, wait a minute, that's another mobile suit? Like, wait, I thought there were only 2 of them. And we see the bits, or I won't call them funnels, but they're like funnels, but the bits, how they just detach, they can act as armor, they can come together and make an actual physical shield, they can actually cause like an eye field barrier to deflect the beam shots. I mean, this thing was just, mowing these mobile suits down, and the way it was done. We see Aerie, oh yeah, also you see like the little pattern on her face. You see she's looking at the monitor, counting the lights. She's like 1, 2, 3. She's literally locking on. I mean, she doesn't know she's locking on, but she's locking on. She's shooting down all these mobile suits and they're blowing up. And she's like, oh, look, the bright lights, they look just like candles. But what's crazy, you also have, of course, this high-end mobile suit. This mobile suit pilot, along with this mobile suit, the design, when I first seen it, I'm like, it'll slowly grow on me. But, man, he was, of course, against the Gundams, like so many other characters in the Gundam series. And he was taking out this one, well, he was taking on this one prototype Gundam. I believe her name is Wendy. She was getting revenge. She was just mad, upset. I don't know if it was her friend, sister, her partner, whatever. She got shot. So she said, I have to do this for Wendy. So it's her and Arim. They are fighting in these 2 prototype mobile suits. And this high-end mobile suit, this thing was a beast. It took its foot, went down on a prototype Gundam, and it let like this look like an EMP, but it wasn't necessarily EMP. It can sever the link with the pilot and the Gundam. That is hella dangerous right there. And she couldn't move. I believe it. No, it didn't cut the arm off. It did that of the other Gundam, but he ended up piercing the cockpit, just stabbing the whole blade because it didn't have no beam sabers, but it stuck the blade right through the cockpit. I think he said that, I believe he said along the lines, the end of Gundam is now, or this is the end of the Gundams, or the Gundams will never see the light of day. And he was shooting while he stuck through the cockpit. That's overkill. That's a classic overkill. But that's overkill. You already stabbed the motivator. And he was just shooting, blew up, destroyed. So Nadim, he goes to take on this pilot, and it wasn't looking good. I mean, he took out the whole, they look like the things that caused the EMP blast. Again, I know it's not an EMP, but that the electromagnetic field that can sever the link between the pilot and the Gundam, look like they're these sphere ball things that are connected to a rope. He took those out, but it was just unfortunate that, he came to save the day of his daughter and his wife, because Eri, she went to fight the Gundam lift. It seemed like he was almost piloting on his own in a sense, but I guess it was that severed perfect connection. But we see Eri was taking on this high-end mobile suit, and the pilot did say, not bad, but at the end of the day, he did that blast, severed the link, cut the arm off. And when you see in the inside of the cockpit, you see that her arm came off. It didn't come, her mother with the prosthetic arm. I'm not saying when he cut the arm of the Gundam, her arm came off. I'm just saying I noticed when it went to the cockpit at some point, you seen her arm was off. Now, maybe I missed something as to how that happened. I have to watch it again. But yeah, her father came to help her, and when she found out that her husband was in there, it was pretty messed up. And while this is happening, also in unison, you see the speech being held by the council, and you see someone delivers a message, like he whispers in the ear of a council member, and his eyes got big, and you already know he told him, hey, the murder started happening. Not the murders, but we started killing everyone. We started, hey, forget it. And I know why he was shocked. He's like, I didn't give the cause for this. And then at that point, he just looked at Deli like, you son of a bitch. But Deli, he doesn't care, because the way Deli looks at it, he looks at it as weapons should be meant. Well, how did he put it? It was crazy. He said, I think he said humans should only kill humans, or weapons made by humans should only be used as weapons to kill their humans, but the weapons themselves should not kill the humans. He said this is like a gift and a curse. It's killing pilots and test subjects and its enemies. So he was like, no, this has to be shut down and stopped. There will be no more Gundams, because these Gundams, the way you have to pilot them is causing deaths. It's just causing a lot of complications, so there will be no more Gundams. He's on that type of stuff. But it was so messed up, man. So messed up when the father ended up dying. He went like super overdrive. He was connecting to so many different layers. I think he went permit 2 or permit 3. And he just went like to the max. It looked like he was getting some type of crazy tunnel vision. You see the markings on his face. He went to hug that mobile suit, and push it far away because he didn't want that Mobile Suit taking out his wife and his daughter. And as he was doing that, he started singing "Happy Birthday," man. And the daughter can hear, you know, "Oh, it's daddy, it's daddy." And even on the enemy ship, you heard someone say, you know, "Cut the link." Like, I don't want to hear this. You know, other people are kind of confused, and it was just messed up. His last words were him singing "Happy Birthday" to his daughter. And when it was just complete silence, he just said the last part, "Happy birthday to you." It was that explosion. Then it cut to the speech that Dylan gave, you know, regarding how he felt about the Gundams. And I'm like, damn, that right there, that was very, very, very good. I mean, it's a lot better than even what I'm explaining. I mean, you can all watch this on YouTube for free. Go to Gundam Info, you know, shout out to them. It was a very, very, very good prologue. And, oh yeah, got the classic Gundam Unicorn mug straight from Japan. Shout out to Game on Cloud 9. He picked this up for me. But, yeah, this prologue, man, it just laid down a foundation and set up for so many good things to come regarding this Gundam series. I like the design of the mobile suits. I like the character designs, the animation, the quality. I am looking forward to these episodes every week, and yes, I will review them. But man, that Gundam launched the music, and they played that music again for the credits, but without the vocals. But that type of music, it goes good with the vocals or without the vocals. So I was pretty pleased. I mean, it kept me hooked in from beginning to middle to end. Me personally, there wasn't no dry spots, no dry points, because I expected it was going to have good pacing because it's just a prologue, you know. So they figured out a good way to cram everything into one short mini episode, but have it make sense to give you an idea of what's going on and what's to come up ahead. But yeah, that's about it, elites. You know what? Before we go, let's check out that trailer. Man, this looks so good. Always gotta add a horror. Okay. The opening theme song. This looks better than the prologue. Simulcast playing. Look at that. Simulcast playing. Hey. I'm gonna tell you something. That song, you know, I mean, it's to be expected, you know, but maybe it'll get a second opening later on in the series. But I'm pretty sure the opening is going to look very, very, very good. Yeah, that's about it, elites. Animation looking good. Like I said, that trailer looked even better than the prologue. I mean, everything is just looking so good. I'm so curious. I hope it has good pacing. I hope it's not overly silly, things like that. I really do hope it. I'm curious. You have my attention. I'm sold. So next Gundam video, elites, I'll see you with a review of episode 1 of Mobile Suit Gundam, The Witch from Mercury. Signing out. Thanks for watching.